Authenticity in marketing can be a make it or break it point when it comes to your brand. If you are not authentic about who you are and why you do what you do, no matter what industry or business you are in, you will not see success. So today we're going to talk about what is authenticity in marketing, why is authenticity important when it comes to marketing, and how to create an authentic brand when creating your message or your branding. Stay tuned, grab some coffee, make some popcorn. We're going to talk about how to be authentic with someone who I think has been pretty cool and good with it so far. Welcome to the Brand Builder Podcast. I'm your host, Amir Tabrizi. I'm a side hustle digital marketer turned agency owner who has managed over $2 billion in marketing budgets. I'm obsessed with the brand building process through video content, social media, and all things organic, leveraging search engine optimization and the power of Google. Every week here on the Brand Builder Podcast, we dive deep into the dynamic realm of digital marketing, unveiling the tools, strategies, and insights that can empower your brand in today's digital-centric world. Not just go over some quick hacks and tricks that will yield you no long-term growth. Whether you're a startup looking to make a splash or an established brand aspiring to reach new heights, our podcast is here to illuminate the path towards your success. So stay tuned to my workshop-style solo shows with the occasional in-depth interviews with industry experts. We don't just talk about digital marketing. We decode it, demystify it, and help you leverage it for your brand's growth. So stay tuned into Brand Builders Podcast and embark on your journey towards becoming a titan in the digital marketing arena. Welcome to another episode of the Brand Builder Podcast, where we just want to help you grow your brand. That's what the focus is. That's what the conversations are. And anything we talk about here, the subject matter expert may be from one industry, but you can apply it in everything that you do. Now, we have a subject matter expert with us. His name is Robert Garcia. You have heard him on the last 2 episodes. You guys kept asking to have him come back. And I thought, what better way to bring somebody back about authenticity when it comes to what he does and how he preaches his brand than Robert Garcia. So Robert, thanks for joining us again.
Whoa, I made it again to the podcast. I'm so excited, everybody. Hello. Hope you're doing well. I had a good time, and summer is almost over and getting ready to enjoy fall. By the way, my favorite season, speaking of authenticity, that's one of my favorite seasons. So I'm all about fall and the pumpkin spice lattes.
Yeah. You hear that, Starbucks? If you're looking for a brand ambassador, I think we found one here. Yeah, man, it's fall is around the corner. We're experiencing probably the beginning of the crazy weather that we experience in Maryland, which is one day it's summer and the next is the dead of winter. And our fall is probably like a week and a half to 2 weeks. And yeah, you got your kids who start in school and people are starting to head back, and the craziness of I got to go at this time to pick up a kid is starting all over again.
Oh, yes.
Awesome. Well, today we're going to talk about authenticity.
Good one.
And I think it's one of the most important things when it comes to marketing. I think, the message you portray and the fact of what we always talk about with the agency and the Brand Builder Podcast, which is the why behind what you do, comes through with that. I mean, I think if you're not acting authentic, people just don't care. Like they're going to smell through that. They're going to see through that. And then they're not going to want to do business with you, no matter what it is that you're doing. Now, excuse me, for some of you that may not know, Robert Garcia has been in the real estate game for over 20 years now.
Yep.
19 years almost of being licensed. He's grown teams to achieve over 100 to 200 million in business, so on and so forth. I mean, you guys know who he is and what he does, but I think one of the main things that I really thought of you for this episode is because of what your tagline has been since the 7 to 8 years that I've known you, which is no sales pressure, just education.
Exactly.
And I think that's pretty authentic about who you are. I don't think people have referred to you and myself who's used you. I don't think we've ever have felt the pressure that we would with other agents. Trust me, I've gone to open houses and felt like, what are you going to do? And I'm like, I haven't even walked in through the house yet. So let me think about it. So we're going to talk about authenticity in marketing. Now, authenticity in marketing is the practice of being genuine and transparent in your marketing efforts. This means being honest about who you are as a brand, what you stand for, and what you offer. So, Robert, in the 20 years that you have been in this realm of business, you have essentially been a sales coach, you have been an operational head, you have built systems, taken down systems, have watched a cycle of an up and down market. What is authenticity in marketing to you? What does that mean to you? How do you practice what you preach when it comes to that specific topic?
Good question, Amir. Good. I'm going to start reading a quote that I like about this. It says, "Authenticity cannot be replicated or faked. You are either real or you are not." And that comes from B.B. Borelli, Bourelly. That's the name. So you are either real or you're not. That's the bottom line of this thing. And for those that are not real, they are faking it. And believe me, I can smell people that are faking it from miles and miles and miles away. Why? Because their sole purpose of somebody that is not authentic is to satisfy a need. Whether it is financial or is not related to money, it's a very selfish motivation to satisfy something that it's only works in one way. So when I tell people that I'm not about sales pressure, just education, I really mean it. I mean, I will hate for someone that is starting to look to buy a house to go out with me and buy the first house they see. I would really hate it for that person. As much as they can fall in love with the house and say that's the house that, just really gets all the boxes check mark, I would just really hate for someone to do that because I've seen it. And I know they'd regret it. And to me, it's better to look a good handful of homes before you can actually make that decision. It's just the way it is. So going to authenticity, it is just to really develop something that you believe in on 100%. There is no doubt. There is no 99.5. No, at 100%. You have to believe in that. You have to preach it. And when you start preaching it, it becomes your mantra. It becomes your way of living. It becomes the way of doing things. And once you have that well established, people know you're not fooling them. People know you're not just messing around with them. They know you're for real. So a lot of people come to me and I always, on the first appointment, I'll be like, listen, this may or may not be for us. I may not be the right person for you. You may not be the right client for me. So let's just discover ourselves that this really works. And believe me, that's what's I think in psychology is called a pattern interrupt. Because they are coming with the expectation that I'm going to close them so hard to work with me, and I'm doing the opposite. So their guard comes down at that point. And they'll be like, oh, okay, so we don't have to sign anything. Says, no, we don't have to sign anything today. Today we're going to talk about if we want to really work together. When I do, I don't really do a lot of cold calling anymore because it's just not part of my who I am. But when I've done it before, I will just really start at the beginning to say, hey, Mr. and Mrs. or whomever his hands are on the other end, and be like, hey, this is a sales call. I'm a local real estate agent. And before I continue, you can hang up right now. And believe me, nobody hangs up. Nobody hangs up. But if I would have called it, hey, I'm Robert Garcia. I'm just a local real estate agent. I'm just calling you to let you know the market is so hot that you see the difference. It's a huge difference. So when I'm telling people, you can hang up right now. You have the right to not listen to whatever I'm about to say. It changes everything. That pattern interrupt, it's made me, I would have said millionaire, but it's really made me, giving me a lot of business, right? Only because I'm different than the rest. And I'm not trying to be, just different because I want their business. No, I'm different, right. Period.
So I think one of the main things to highlight on is that you're like, you make your money when somebody either buys a house and goes to closing or sells a house and goes to closing, right? Correct. So you are not playing desperate for business. You are also interviewing that buyer or seller. And I think for a lot of business owners and small business owners specifically and entrepreneurs, we're like, yo, where's the next business coming in, right? So we could be so hungry for the business that we may align ourselves with someone who we may not believe in. And that could hurt our business, that could hurt our image, that could hurt our brand, which makes us less authentic when it comes to marketing. So that's huge. I mean, you genuinely interview the person that you're talking to make sure that they align with you when it comes to what their needs are.
Yes, and my interview goes two ways. First interview is a face-to-face, either in my office, a coffee shop, or their home, depending what type of client, buyer or seller. If it's a buyer, the next interview, assuming that we like each other, we think there is a potential, then the next opportunity for them to interview me is when I show them a house. Why? Because they want to test my experience. They want to test my knowledge. What do I think about this property? What do I think of the floors they have? What do I think whether the house has improvements or doesn't have improvements? How much would it cost to do an improvement or whatever? They have to test my knowledge. Now, at that point, I will just, as I wrap up the appointment, whether it is I show them one house or five, I will ask them, did they see any value in continuing to work with me? And I will say there have been some people that say, no, we don't want to work with you because we feel like you just feel like, they just feel like I want to explain too much and they just want to jump. And I have some people that left me, gone and work with another realtor. And as they are in the middle of a messy transaction, they call me to say, hey, we decided to work with this realtor and he was more like moving a lot faster than we expected. Now we're in the middle of this transaction and there's some things that we don't understand and we cannot get a hold of him or her. At that point, as a good realtor as I am, I will not get in the middle of those things. And I would just say, well, you hire that person, go with that person. But for those that wanted to work with me, they'll work with me, and then we'll continue the process, and then we'll really know what's ahead of. And one thing I hate about part of the not being authentic, it's surprises, and a lot of realtors, because they don't invest in themselves and their knowledge and education on those things, when problems arise, then they don't know how to deal with those, and that's what surprises and headaches come. And then people hate those things. So I like to anticipate those. I don't have the crystal ball, but knowing of these many years of experience, I can tell you I kind of know the most common things. And I go so deep as like, okay, they already come with a loan officer. Well, I need to talk to your loan officer. I need to interview your loan officer. I need to understand what your loan officer is going to give you, because you may or may not understand. I'm not a loan officer, but I have a very deep understanding of the type of loans. Do you give me permission? This is a team, right? We're going to have to work together. So those are the things where you really give these people the experience they deserve, not they want, that they deserve. Recently, I had somebody that reached out to me to say that she's interested in finding a rental. And I don't do rentals. I'm straightforward. I just do straight sales, whether buying or selling a house. But this lady immediately, and I know this lady for a long time, through text messages, and she was just telling me to say, well, I'm a teacher. I'm in Montgomery County. I'm looking to move to outside of Montgomery County because I cannot afford Montgomery County. I don't make a lot of money. And she gave me a budget for what she's looking to buy. And she immediately felt bad that she was telling me about her budget. And she said, you may not be interested in helping me, although you say you don't do rentals, but I would like you to find someone for me that I can call so that I can, somebody can show me rentals. But I know my budget is not too big, and I just feel bad that I'm wasting your time. And I replied back to her and said, listen, your budget has nothing to do with the service that you deserve. You're a customer. You deserve the best service that somebody can give you. The budget is irrelevant at this point. It's not a motivation for someone to show to you. I mean, she called me. She says she was almost crying, and I said, "Why are you crying?" Because nobody seems to wanted to help me. So I found two good agents. I recommended the two different areas, and I said, "Go and see it for yourself and look at these places." But again, authenticity. She knew I was very authentic about my statement and my desire to help her. Although I don't do rentals, but I went outside of what I normally will do and find her someone. And I hope that she finds the place that she wants. She rents, and later on, she will know that not every real estate agent it's the same. So that's how I can give you a good example how authentic I can be.
There we go. I think that's one of probably the most important ones as well. It's that your the authenticity that you put forth out there can kind of be the reaction that you may get from anybody else. So, excuse me, if you would have told this person that, hey, listen, I don't do rentals, best of luck to you, then you could have potentially hurt a future business, but also the person they know. So they could be talking to a friend and they go, hey, I'm looking to buy a house. Oh, wait, you should talk to this guy, Robert Garcia, even though I just met him. Look, he went out of his way to do X, Y, and Z for me. So I think the authenticity of how we also treat other people is huge in business as well. And then listen, we see it all the time. Like, I give out free. So when we do interviews for the agency, right? Like somebody reaches out and says, hey, we were interested in working with you. I tell them, listen, the first call is a discovery call. I want to know as much about your business as possible. I'm going to tell you about our business. And it's an interview to make sure we can both work together and we can be successful in what we're trying to do. It's not just because I want your business and you want to give me your business or you're thinking about it, then I'm going to tell you everything you want to hear to take it. So that initial call for us is exactly that. And I set the standard, the tone at that initial, the first 5 minutes. And I say, listen, these are the questions I'm going to ask you. I'm going to ask you about what your revenue is. I'm going to ask you about what your best year was or what your worst year was and why that was the case and what are your biggest pain points. It's because I want to address those pain points. If I come and tell you, listen, you're killing it on social media, but your SEO sucks, but in return, you really care about social media, you have no interest in SEO, cool, you're not going to care about that. So I think being genuine and authentic, even the way that you have the conversation, whether it's the first call, second call, or whenever it is, it makes a huge, huge difference in the way that your tone and your message and your business is received in there. And just a few other things, the why behind it is it builds trust with customers, right? When a customer believes that you are being genuine, they're more likely to trust you and your brand. When that seller or the buyer or whoever of my product or services, your product or services, believe that you're being genuine about what you're saying and you're not just trying to rob them or you're not just trying to take advantage of them, they're going to want to do business with you and they're going to trust you. It increases the customer loyalty. Customers who feel like they can trust your brand are more likely to stay loyal to you. Loyalty, sphere of influence, as real estates would know it, or your past clients, or referral is the cheapest and the easiest type of business because somebody is literally going out there that they know so well and is vouching for Robert Garcia, the realtor, right? Like I did the same thing. You helped us buy a house. I had a friend of mine who called me, I think it was like 11 o'clock at night one night, and we had just bought, and he's like, dude, I saw this house I really wanted. I went da-da-da-da-da. I'm like, okay, call this guy and he'll take you through the process. And you did. And so that was a referral business that you got because of the experience I had, whether I knew you or not, whatever that instance was, like that referral business, that passing down of contact information is huge in any industry. And then I think the last thing, it helps you stand out from the competition. In a world where there is so much noise, authenticity can help you stand out from the competition and be memorable. Authenticity could be your unique selling proposition when it comes to your business. Listen, I preach this. I preach branding, and I literally will talk about branding. I've had multiple people that have called me and said, listen, I'm paying X, Y, and Z, Realtor.com, Zillow, whatever, this amount of money. I'll give you that same amount of money. Can you generate leads for me tomorrow? And I will say no, because what I believe in is not just a bunch of PPC ads and then you get what you need. And then if you don't convert, are they going to be quality or not? My approach and our approach as Agency 270 is let's grow your brand. Let's get you to be a household name. In your words, let's get you to be the digital mayor of your area so that when you are not spending money, you have referrals that are coming in, you have your business that's growing in. And guess what? You do not have to spend $7,000 to $10,000 a month on just ads to just get through the noise. So I think that's a huge thing as well, is that it can help you stand out from the competition in a world where there's so much noise. But to you specifically, Robert, why is authenticity important?
It is important because it builds trust, okay? And that's a word that I think in most sales industry, sales representatives I've seen as wolves, right? They're just hungry for the next thing, and they're just going to keep moving forward whether it's as a pack or as a solo, but they're just moving forward. And I think we need to change that in so many ways, because yes, there is a need to make a sell, but the agents that are the ones that push you the most are also the ones that are doing the least. And what I mean by that is they only have one or two pillars of how they get clients. And then the first person they get, they think it's going to buy with them or sell with them. And then they go super heavy on trying to pursue and convince this person to work with them. And then they have what some coaches call the dollar, the money breath, meaning like that you can feel this, they're so desperate for money that they just, it comes through their pores and when they're sweating, and you feel like, oh my gosh, that guy seems so pushy, so desperate for money, right? So you can sense those things. People are not stupid. Come on, they just, they're not that way. So this is where authenticity means you have to really not only work with one pillar, you should have several pillars. When I do my YouTube videos and I have people that come to my channel, the first thing they said to me is, Robert, I feel like we know you because through your videos, you said so many good things about the X community, or you also said things that maybe we didn't think about the X community. And now we feel like we have a connection with you, although we don't know you, we never met you, we never even had a Zoom call, but we feel like there's already a connection because it feels that you really care for the people that come to your network. And that is the main goal, is that people should feel that you're caring for their wants and needs. I'm not saying that they have to be right, and I'm not saying that you as the expert have to always be right, but that's where the marriage comes, right? Like, and let's be honest, right? There's a client doesn't want to marry the wrong sales professional, nor the sales professional wants to marry the wrong client. And there can be toxic clients. They are. As there are toxic realtors, loan officers, marketing gurus. Yeah, they are. Some people are selfish. So you just got to know those things. And, somebody once told me, as I was interviewing to list a house, the guy comes back after he said, yeah, we're going to work with you and everything. And he says, I always like to ask people what made you go with me, because then again, data, right? That's intel that I need. So maybe, your knowledge of the area or your knowledge of marketing or whatever, then I know that's important to people. And then the guy said to me, well, through the whole process, you always kept asking us questions. And your questions actually made us go to places in our minds with my wife that we didn't think about. So you immediately start to add value to the things that we've been doing. I went to a listing appointment back in, I'll say June of this year, early June. These people were thinking about selling their home, relocating to another state. And they already bought another house. They're like, okay, we're closing on that house on this date. And we ideally would like to close on the house in Maryland. 2-3 weeks later, we can travel back to Maryland to do those things. And I asked them, are you interviewing other realtors? And they said, yes, we are. And they were kind enough to give me the names of the other realtors. And they're heavy hitters. These are people that have been selling houses for 30 something years. So they're 10, 15 years more experience than I have. But I said to them, okay, you're still a resident of the state of Maryland. They're like, yeah, we are. I said, okay. And this is, again, authenticity, experience, knowledge, call it however you want to call it. And I said, well, in the state of Maryland, when you sell a house and you move out of the state of Maryland, there can be a penalty on taxes. The Maryland is going to do additional withholding. I think it's at 7.5% or 8% right now. And have you? So if you go to your new state and you change that to be your home state, now there could be a potential of those things. I said, I'm not, full disclosure, I'm not a CPA, I'm not an attorney, so I cannot guide you and coach you. But I am raising the question here for us to identify if that could be a potential issue. So, I finished my presentation, I left, and then they said, well, we're going to be interviewing some other people. And a couple of days later, I got the phone call back and said, you're hired for the job. And I said, thank you very much. And I said, may I ask you what made you go with me? And the guy said, in addition to the experience you have on selling homes and knowing of the area, the biggest factor for us that you gave us additional guidance about the additional withholding that Maryland may take from our proceeds when we move out to our new home state. And they said that was just, to us, that was just gold. We felt like you really, really care for our bottom line, for our money, for the experience, and you didn't want to have any bad surprises. And when that came, I just said, hey, listen, that is my job to come and put all these things, although I may not coach you on everything that may come across, but at least I should put it on the table so there are no surprises. And that's it. Again, authenticity. Being authentic means you have to have the experience. You need to know how to talk to these people, and you need to ask them questions because you need to qualify. They may you think they want A, but they actually want B. But if you don't ask those questions, how do you know they want B? You're always going to keep thinking they want A, right?
There we go. So when we come back, we're going to talk about how to create an authentic brand. And we're going to give you some quick tips and advice on how to have an authentic brand and how to build authenticity into your marketing. But before we come back to all of that, a quick word from our sponsor. My name is Amir Tabrizi, and I am the owner and the chief growth officer here at Agency 270. Agency 270 is a full-service digital marketing team. We focus on search engine optimization, paid ads, your Google business profile, videos, video editing and optimization, posting your videos, social media management, and podcast recording and editing. Why we do what we do is because we want to help you and your message to get out in front of the world. We want to make sure that we're highlighting our clients so that they are the consumer's choice. We do that through the power of digital marketing. Ask yourself this question. If you go onto Google right now and type in your name or type the problem that you solve and you're not coming up as one of the first 2-3 choices, there's a problem there. You are losing out business to your competitor. Don't settle for next to best. Don't settle for second. Don't settle for third. Let us help you get you to the number one spot on Google. Give me a call today. Go on our website at agency270.com. Send us an email at marketing@agency270 or give us a call, 301-310-6148. Again, that's 301-310-6148. Back to our show. And we are back. So we have Robert Garcia here, and we talked about what is authenticity in marketing and why it's important. We talked about the repercussions it can have, whether it's positive or negative, when it came to you and your business. But people will ask, well, how do I create an authentic brand? Well, when creating an authentic brand, there are a few things to keep in mind. Be clear about your values. What are the values that your brand stands for? What do you believe in? Be consistent in messaging. Your messaging should be consistent across all channels, from your website to your social media to your advertising. Be transparent about your practice. Be honest about how you operate your business, from where your products come from to how you treat your employees. Be authentic in the interaction with the customer, and be genuine and sincere in your interaction with customers, both online and offline. So, Robert, when you got down to creating your brand, when you looked at it and say, okay, I want to be authentic, how did you create it? What did you look at when you looked at your values? What did you do when it came to what do you believe in? How did you make sure you were being transparent and honest, both online and offline? And by offline, we mean anything that's not, whether it's through DMs or a phone call or anything like that, like when you're not in a public forum setting.
Sure. So yeah, that's a good one because it's this is not a chat GPT core values class, guys. This is not what I'm trying to say.
Right. That
you just ask chat GPT, give me core values for a real estate agent. No. Core values is who you really are, like your DNA, right? It's embedded in who you are every time you speak, every time you say something, when you meet with someone. I mean, it should be in there. Like, people should feel it. So one of the things I did is, and this is from the big coaches like Jim Rohn and all those big guys from that talk about building business and legacies and so on. I went ahead and invited some of my friends, family members, and some past clients, and I asked them, I said, hey, if someone would ask you to describe Robert Garcia, how would you describe me? And they gave me a lot of feedback on so many things that I had no idea that other people will see in me. I mean, some of them was, I will say yes, it was, I knew that I was raised with that. I mean, my parents installed those habits and behaviors in me, but some other ones I had no idea. And then I went back onto the whiteboard and I just put them all as a terminology, and then I see the patterns. Okay, this one, it's people say like 5 times this comes here. So I just started looking to all those things, and that's when I really came out with my core values, with my what I believe it's the right thing to do not only for myself. And this is the other thing, it's a lot of people say, well, I have core values for myself and I have core values for my business. Yes, that is not bad to have, but it should be, if you want to be authentic, it should be all over the place, right? It should be on your personal and on your own brand. So that way people really know that you're going to be the same person no matter what. And a lot of people have told me in the past, Robert, you're always the same person. We know you for the last 10 years and you continue to be the same person. No change, maybe more gray hair. Yeah, for sure. But you still behave the same way. You still have the same advice. And that's really how. Just ask the closest people that know you, friends, family members. If you're in sales, ask some of your past clients that you trust, and not just make a phone call. Take them out. Actually, invite them to a cup of coffee. Take them out. Find out how they're doing, and find out, if there's anything you can do to help them. And then just go ahead and ask that question. Just really care for them, because if you call someone, you say, hey, what can you tell me about dealing with me experience? And like they're in the middle of something, they're going to be stressed out, and maybe you could go into an appointment in a meeting. Most likely they won't give you the feedback you're looking for. But if you take him to, going back to the pumpkin spice latte, right now, the season, you take him out for a pumpkin spice latte, you put all that sugar in their bloodstream, believe me, they'll give you good things about it. Just, that's a joke and not an ad for Starbucks. I just enjoy pumpkin spice latte, but it's bad for you, too much sugar.
But if Starbucks is looking for somebody to sponsor, I'm sure we can get you in front of Robert Garcia for free pumpkin spice latte.
Sure.
Advertisement. Great. So, I mean, those are huge. I mean, really being that authentic is huge with it. So we want to round it out with a few tips, and then we're going to ask Robert Garcia if he had to go back with all the knowledge he has now to the young man he was when it came to creating his business and his branding. What would he do differently, and what advice would he give to any business owner, entrepreneur, or somebody who's looking to get into real estate, what they would do to be authentic? So here's some additional tips for creating an effective authenticity in branding marketing. When it comes to their branding, for their marketing, be honest and transparent. Don't try to be something you're not. Be honest about your brand's values, practices, and products. What are your core values? We at Agency 270 and Brand Builder Podcast, we believe in educating. So we want to bring you content and subject matter experts on our own time and our own dime to give you the content you're looking for, because we believe in the brand values of bringing education. Be consistent. I cannot stress this enough. If you are looking to spend money in marketing, I don't care if it's $1 a month or I don't care if it's $100,000 a month, be consistent. Your messaging should be consistent across all channels. Don't say one thing on your website and another thing on your social media. That happens more than you know. You promise something on your website, you say something different on your social media. Or, sometimes I see this happening as well, is we go and hire an influencer, right? Like we've talked about influencer marketing on our channel. We go and hire an influencer. We don't vet their messaging. We don't vet their core values. We don't vet anything, but we just want this influencer to get us in front of their 100,000 people. But we don't care that their messaging may be something that we don't align with. So that's also the consistency you need to look for. Be authentic in your interactions with customers. Be genuine and sincere in your interactions, both online and offline. Don't pretend to be somebody you're not. And be patient. It takes time to build an authentic brand. Don't expect to see results overnight. As I said before, the amount of times I've had somebody come to me and say, listen, if I give you X amount of money a month, can you make this happen for me? And I say no, because it's genuinely not true. And I have a lot of people in our industry when it comes to marketing, agencies, that they promise you the world. How many times have you opened up your phone and said, hey, attention real estate agents, if we don't get you and your brand in front of 100,000 people in the next 30 days, we give you your money back. Well, I bet you if you go through the system, listen to what they're telling you, there are so many catches, and they're going to put you in front of bots, and all they're going to show you is, listen, man, we got your impressions. Well, impressions are just that. You just happen to show up in front of somebody. They didn't click. They didn't come onto your website. They didn't follow you. They didn't give you the like or whatever it is. They did not interact with you. And that's the biggest difference. Impressions and interactions are a whole total different world. Be patient.
Oh yeah, you got to be
patient.
You have to be very patient. I remember that's probably back in 2010, 2011. This company approached me to say that they sell to you qualified leads for realtors. And I asked the guy, I never believe in those things because it's just very disruptive. And I said, okay, well, what do you mean by qualified? Well, I said, well, these is people we have identified. They live in X zip code or city, and then there is a likelihood they're going to be moving. It says, how do you know they're going to be moving? Well, we have an algorithm that it is something that we have, that it's our unique formula that we know these people are going to be moving. You know what it was? It was a total BS. All they did is they went ahead and bought names, addresses, emails, and telephone numbers. So how do you know that these people are going to be moving, right? How there is no trust. They don't know you. All of a sudden, you're just going to call and say, hey, you're moving? Well, I'm here. Why don't let's just, it's like a blind dating in a way, but it works, even worse, because it's really blind. They don't know you. You don't know them.
Yeah.
So it's, as I said, if somebody tells you I can get you leads, believe me, it's not that hard to get leads. I can start an agency, a marketing company tomorrow that all it does is sell leads to real estate agents, and believe me, I will make a lot of money. But that doesn't line up with my principles, with my values, because I know I'm going to upset a lot more people than make them happy, and my business will really go down. So that it is the challenge here, guys. It's just don't go for just the leads, go for the relationships. We know when I coach new agents that come to the industry, first thing I will say is I want you to stand in front of a mirror. I want you to put your cell phone and record yourself and just answer me, why should I hire you? I want you to answer that question like it comes from a prospect. You're in front of a seller that's about to give you a house that is worth $1 million. And the question is, it says, why should I hire you? And I want you to look at that mirror and answer that straightforward. And then we're going to play the video. And then we're going to find out if your answer was authentic and if it had any value. And if it didn't, we're going to work on that. And they're like, oh, yeah, you're right. We're going to work on those things. So those are the things that we need to really understand, because believe me, anybody can sell a house nowadays. Anybody. It's not a rocket science, but who can achieve the best results for a client? That's where the money is.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's where it all is going to be. So, Robert, if you could go back and look at everything you know now, you could go back and think about all the lessons you've learned, all the things you've done. If somebody's looking to start a business today, whether it's real estate or not, what is the one or two pieces of advice you would give them when it comes to authenticity in their brand, and when it comes to the right principles and matters, and like what should their core values be, or how should they get to the point where they identify their core values?
Yeah, so what you need to do is you need to understand who you are. First of all, you need to understand who you want to go after, what kind of clients you really enjoy working the most. All clients are going to be enjoyable, but clients are going to have different challenges. So if it is a first-time home buyer, has different challenges from somebody who's living in their home for the last 30 years and they have not upgraded anything from their property, or for that buyer that already owns a condominium or a townhouse and wants to move more up into a single-family home. So they are sellers and buyers at the same time. Or that empty nester that now they've been working on the house, fixing the house, they need to sell, but they're afraid of the change. So you need to understand who you're going to be helping. Again, just the fact that you sell houses or you can help someone buy a house doesn't mean you can take every client that comes your way. There are so many different challenges that you're going to have to face. So Identify that, what value you bring to the table. Look at your past experiences. What were you doing before on your previous job? Well, how can you apply that into this industry? How can you make people understand that, yes, you're hiring me as a realtor. I'm might be new right now. This is my previous experience, and this is where I think I add a lot of value. Believe in yourself, believe in what you can do, sell yourself well, but not sell in a way that just like, trying just to somebody to come and work with you because you're the best. No, sell on how you mutually can benefit from this relationship moving forward, and what you can also, believe me, I learn things from every client I work with. Even until this day, I still learn certain things from these clients that I'm working with that I didn't know. And you say, well, Robert, you've been in this industry for so many years. Yeah, I've been in this. But the problems of this industry are different every time, every transaction, every market, upside down, whatever market you're in, it's always going to be different. So you got to really understand that. And if you can put that in one piece, in one set of sentences where you can create your mission, your vision, and your core values, it doesn't need to be overwhelming. It can just be half a page. I can tell you, you should be very successful, and you should be able to remember those things and should be able to tell people what you believe in. And that's very important as you're having meetings with clients. Because if your clients don't match those values, or a potential client, why do you want to take them as a client, right? Why would you want to do those things? That's a disservice to yourself. That's a downgrade to yourself. So it is for the client. If you don't match their core values, why would they want to, work with you? So those are the things that I will do differently if I were to start again. And those are the things that I really, really, really insist new agents, they should need to identify as soon as possible, because that will just give them a whole idea. And simplicity it's sexy, it's beautiful, it's just really has so many benefits. But I think we human beings enjoy the craziness of life and get things kind of hectic, and then we just pull our hair and we don't know where we're going. It shouldn't be that way. You should be creating something that is super simple. I was actually watching this podcast from this guy that is killing it. And I think it's like I want to say Idaho. I don't remember exactly where they mentioned it, but the guy is killing it. And then this is like his fourth, fifth year in real estate. And he's selling over like $60-80 million a year in volume. And that's huge. That's huge in real estate, especially in a state like Idaho, where probably prices are a lot lower than that we have over here. So the guy's being interviewed, so many podcasts and everything. And it's very simple. The guy says, hey, so what's the secret sauce? What's the recipe? What is this? And the guy says, oh, simple, consistency. And everybody's look at him. He's like, are you kidding me? We're paying you this much to come to speak here, or we're taking on other clients that are more important than you, for you to tell us it is simplicity. And the guy said, yeah, I only talk to 50 people a day. That's all I do. And I've been doing it for the last, I don't know how many years he's been doing it. And those 50 people a day, some of them make it to his database. And from his database, he stays in touch with those 50 people. He probably talks to the same 50 people several times a year, right. And then they're now becoming clients, and he's selling them houses. And because of the loyalty that he's experiencing, and vice versa, now they refer him to other business. So that one conversation can lead to multiple transactions. So as I said, simplicity is just beautiful. Don't make it complicated for you guys.
Yeah, life is already complicated. You don't need to keep adding to it, especially when it comes to your business. And when you get out of the simplistic realm of things, what happens is you start to actually spend more and more money chasing. The worst thing you can do as a new business owner, entrepreneur, or anything else is to chase things, because you will never do anything well. You'll just be okay at a lot of things. Believe in your core values. Start with your why. Why are you doing what you do? The what and the how comes from the services and the products you are providing or the selling. That's been another episode of the Brand Builder Podcast. Thank you for taking the time to be with us. I hope this was helpful to you when it comes to your branding and marketing. Robert, thanks for joining us again, and we look forward to having you on more episodes.
Thank you. Thank you, guys. Bye-bye.